Hello and welcome to another episode of Kerbal Space Program. In this episode we are going to do a few more contracts. This mission we're just launching now, we're going to try and get into an orbit around the moon and transmit some science data back from the moon, and if we're lucky maybe the high and low or near moon science data. So you can see I'm using 4 solid boosters there, just jettison them. Mainly doing that just to get the high altitude, and because they're cheap really, they're throwaway. I've not installed the mod Deb refund yet, which but I think I will do. It looks quite good from the other videos that are out there and what I've found on the web. Also installed a few more mods into this version of KSP, which is the beautification mod, so you can see like the city lights and so on there in the background. I've installed FAR, Deadly Reentry, Interstellar, Kethane, Kerbal Alarm Clock. I think I've also got TAC Fuel Balancer and possibly the life support one, I can't remember at this stage. Put MechJeb in as well. I quite like the readouts it gives me and stuff. So yeah, I'll try and get a full list of all the mods and add them into the comment section at the bottom. So unfortunately this is a night launch, so you can't actually see much. Just trying to get into a nice circular orbit around Kerbin before we make a transfer to the moon. I could have timed the launch a bit better so that we could see a little bit more than just the flare of the engine. There we go. So we've got an apoapsis outside of the atmosphere. Just set the manoeuvre node up to circularize that, and then line it up and just time accelerate towards that node. Okay, so we're also at the altitude height now with a nice circular orbit, or a relatively circular orbit, and we can just complete that mission there just to run the test on the small gear bay. So that's another contract done. Just now got to, I think we've got another contract to transmit some science data back from Kerbin and also from the moon, so we'll do that. So set the target for the moon, just add in a manoeuvre node in, and try and make sure we get a nice capture. For this mission we'll probably just do a flyby and make sure we can get the data back down to Kerbin and bring it back in rather than transmit the data. The reason I don't really want to transmit the data is because don't really have any solar arrays on here, or the solar arrays aren't very big. So and of course you get more value back from the data if you can actually land it. So I'll just get Jeb to do an EVA and collect all of the data that we've just generated here, so that we can store it back into the command pod and bring it back when we do our re-entry. So just, whoops, a little bit too far. Lovely view though. Just try and gain control of Jeb and then get back to the spacecraft and pick up that data. So there's the ship coming back into view again. Fortunately I didn't add any grab rails, so he's got to EVA the whole length down. There we go, retrieve that data. Now try and get back to the like the airlock thing on the pod. It's rather awkwardly positioned. So he grabbed it but just missed it, so I have to try and get back there again. Same mistake. Let's try again. Just trying to change the camera view, see if we can get a better orientation with Jeb so that we can grab hold of that grab rail properly. And yes, there we go. Boarded and the experiments are stored. So we're 7 minutes or so away from the manoeuvre node. Just get it pointed in the right direction. Then we can time accelerate towards that node and make that burn to get it within the moon's sphere of influence, and hopefully complete that other contract. Right, we've got a little bit of fuel left in this stage, so let's just burn that little bit of fuel off, and then we can see how much the time left for the delta V with the smaller motor, which is in that final stage. So we've got 54-second burn. So if we burn from about 20 seconds, okay, or 12 seconds, we can try and get it almost equally split around the node, but I think we just fast forward a little bit too far. So just the last few seconds to burn now, 150 meters per second to go. We need to keep pointing it at the manoeuvre node and just slowly drop off the throttle. Don't want to overshoot. Okay, so within 2.1. Okay, we've got an encounter with the moon there, I think. So let's just fast forward to that. And then we can collect our science once we're in orbit around the moon. So we capture our mystery goo. We've got the crew report, magnetometer boom, and the Science Junior. Might as well do the last mystery goo as well and try and capture as much as we can. So again, we've got to EVA, jeb out and go and collect that data. Hopefully we can get back in a little bit more easily this time. I'll switch his lights on so we can see what he's doing. Just need to get close to those containers, those science containers, and collect that data. I think in hindsight what I did wrong here was I should have orientated the spacecraft in such a way so that maybe it's like pointing sort of up down in the view before setting Jeb to EVA, and then it would have been easier for him to get back into the capsule again. So there we go, I think we've got all of the data now that we've collected. Just now got to get back in, there we go. We had to dump one of the mystery goo experiments because we've got two identical ones, which is a bit of a shame, but there we go. So just jumping back to the Space Center I'm just unlocking a little bit more science with the data that we've got already, and I've fast forwarded our return trip back to around Kerbin, and here you can just see the re-entry. I've still got that rather large boom extended here. We've dumped the main part, and we've just got the capsule left to come in now. And as I said earlier, I've got Deadly Reentry installed, so we'll just keep an eye on the parachutes, make sure they're okay. So you can see the temperature was increasing there on the parachutes. The heat shield on the command pod looks okay though. Looks like we can have a water landing as well. Here we go, final few meters. Touchdown. So we'll recover the vessel. One of the other mods I've got installed is Final Frontier, so it pops up with this mission summary, and you can see the different ribbons that Jebediah has earned during the mission. We made quite a bit of science there, and a few contracts completed with that data being returned. So if we now go back to the contract center, admin center, and see what other missions we can pick up. So we've got Explore Duna, Explore Minimus, and Explore Ike. We can pick them up. And unlock some more science nodes. So it's pretty worthwhile. I'll just check what looks good. Okay. So this launch is just on. It's another night launch again, so we can't really see what's going on, but never mind. I'm just launching again with 2 solid rocket boosters because they're cheap. Is a probe to map Kerbin. So we're going to try and aim to get this into a nice polar orbit, and it's got the altitude mapping device as part of ScanSat. So there we go, we've got the 2 solid rocket boosters completely finished, expelled. And now burning due north. Yeah, that's circularized. Now perhaps this is a little bit too high, so what we'll do is just set up a new node at the periapsis to bring it back down to a reasonable altitude for mapping. So this is a very similar probe to the one that was just previously launched. We're going to launch this into an equatorial orbit and do pretty much a standard translunar or mooner, I guess, injection kind of thing, and set this one up to map the surface of the moon. There we go, we're at the manoeuvre node. We start the ScanSat altimetry scanner running now. Then as soon as it's in the sphere of influence of the moon, it will start collecting data there. And we also pick up a little bit off Kerbin as well, which helps out. So as per normal, we'll just set up a manoeuvre node to get us to the moon, try and tweak it a little bit so that we get a nice low periapsis, or lunar periapsis, so that we can circularize there. Of course we will have to do an inclination change as well at some point. So I'll just add a manoeuvre node for the sphere of influence change, and just change the config as well so that couple alarm clock automatically picks those up from now on. Then we can set up the manoeuvre node for circularization around the moon. And now let's just change the inclination as well to try and get a sort of 90-degree inclination orbit as well. Just capture a little bit of that science stuff and transmit that back. So that's one contract completed there for the sending data back from the moon. So as you can see, we've got the right inclination there on the orbit. We just want to circularize it, by bringing the apoapsis down, and then we can just leave this probe to continue to map the surface of the moon. We'll just like to say thanks very much for watching, and stay tuned for more.